Hello and welcome to Gamersledge podcast. This is a bonus episode. We are doing a E3, what would you call them? Presentation wrap-up? The conferences wrap-up?
Yeah.
Conferences recap? We've got a few folks joining us tonight. As always, Neo Sapien, Matt.
Howdy. Hey.
And then we have Burgundy Dave.
I'm tired.
You and me both, buddy. And then also joining us tonight is Yadar Grady.
Hi.
How's it going? So, it's been a very
As thrilled as I am to be here. This late at night.
It has been a very long day worth of different announcements from different companies. We're going to quickly hit the highlights from each of the different conferences that happened today, and we'll talk about any key points, and then we'll continue on to the next conference. So starting out the day was Microsoft's. Microsoft conference. They came out, they said this is going to be game-centric. We're all about the gamers, gamers, gamers. Games, games, gamers, gamers, gamers. Like, kind of like that clip video they put out last year.
Votes.
Yes, exactly. They announced Forza 5 Nuremberg track would be available today for free for all folks that have the game currently. Forza Horizons 2, they have announced coming out September 30th. The drivatars from your Forza 5 will automatically be imported into Forza Horizons 2, and they will allow you to form clubs, which is my guess to counter the club from Ubisoft, and that'll be coming out September 30th. They also gave us
the club or the crew?
Or the crew, excuse me. You're right, the crew. Evolve had some stage presence at the Microsoft show. Looks really good. They did reveal a new monster that people can play as, and it's Cthulhu Jr., as Grady pointed out. And it's basically the Kraken is the name of it. One of the interesting things that they announced after the show was that there will be 12 playable characters and 3 monsters over 12 maps. So that's information we did not have before E3, but we've got that now. Assassin's Creed Unity is the first of 2 times we'd see it this evening, throughout the day. It follows a new character. It's in the French Revolution, and what we didn't know is it supports up to 4-player co-op. And they actually took us through a co-op mission. Looks pretty interesting. After that, the next game that came up was a game that for 2.5 minutes, Grady and I tried to figure out what it was, unsuccessfully. We guessed it was Skyrim. We guessed it was possibly Oblivion, but it was actually Dragon Age Inquisition, and that series of videos actually made me a little more interested. We would see that again during the EA conference, which we'll get to in a little bit. Sunset Overdrive had an anti-Call of Duty Battlefield trailer, which I thought was pretty hilarious. Really captured the feel of the game. They announced 8-player co-op for the game and a release date of October 28th of this year. Then probably the WTF moment of Microsoft's conference, but I mean that in a good way. Dead Rising 3 Super Ultra Arcade Alpha Exhibition. This is DLC for Dead Rising 3, but it actually allows for 4-player co-op of all the Dead Rising characters you know and love, but they all get to cosplay as different Capcom people and get their power sets. So you could have the Fireball with Ryu. You could. They had one of the guys dressed up as Roll. So that's kind of interesting. And they had somebody dressed up as Mega Man, and he had Mega Man powers as well. Looks completely over the top. Disney Fantasia Music Evolved, October 21st. Harmonix announced Dance Central Spotlight as a digital-only download in September. Fable's Legend got a gameplay demo with 4-player co-op, and you're playing against a real live human villain who can position enemies and traps around the map as you go through it. Project Spark was showcased, and they announced Conquer would be making a return for Project Spark, so you can build games with Conquer because they don't want to. Ori and the Blind Forest was a new game I had not heard of before the conference. Very much looked like the same aesthetic as Child of Light, but very interesting. And then the biggest announcement out of that conference was Halo Master Chief Collection, coming out November 11th. Has Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 4. Has custom playlists for the multiplayer maps across all 4 games, with 100 multiplayer maps, 60 frames per second dedicated servers, 4,000 gamer score, and it includes Halo Nightfall, which is the live action series that's in development right now, and that story leads up to Halo 5, and it gets you a guaranteed slot into the December Halo 5 Guardians beta, and that will retail for $60. That was all the stuff that's coming up this year. They did talk about some indie titles coming out first on the Xbox. They did show a cinematic trailer and a little bit of gameplay for Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is the sequel to the Tomb Raider reboot. Witcher 3, they showed the Griffin Hunt, a Griffin Hunt out of it, which looked spectacular. They're reviving an old Xbox One game that I apparently and 4 other people remember called Phantom Dusk, which was like a Japanese-developed game for the Xbox
Dust.
One. Or Phantom... No, I think it's Dusk, actually.
Really?
Yeah. The Division, they showed a new multiplayer trailer and announced that new content would appear first on Xbox One. I very much
Confirmed it is Dust.
It is Dust?
Yeah, I never get a game name wrong.
All right. And then Platinum Games, which is a Japanese developer, revealed a new game called Scalebound. Not much in the way of gameplay. It looked like mostly cinematics, but it looks like you and a dragon, How to Train My Dragon, except that you have like Chinin kind of armor that appears all over you whenever you want, and you're fighting dinosaurs. It looked interesting. And then last but not least, Crackdown will be a Xbox One exclusive. We'll have campaign and co-op. Showed absolutely no gameplay. For me, personally, Microsoft had the conference of the show, which I know that Dave doesn't like me saying, but they came out and they said games, 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 games. They didn't depart from that except for the 2 seconds when they talked about the Halo Live series. Other than that, everything they did in their hour was nothing but revealing a game. And I thought
and
that
yet
was...
they only revealed one more game than Sony did in their conference.
That may be, but I think Sony stumbled a little bit, and we'll talk about that afterwards. Any big surprises or any discussion points for any of the stuff we just went over?
Oh, the stuff that we just went over?
I personally think $60 for all 4 Halo series games, and they're bringing back the Halo 2 multiplayer pretty much untouched, but just updating the visuals. That's going to be huge for Xbox fans.
Plus all the maps.
Yeah, especially all those maps. They're remastering, I think, 6 or 10 of the maps, and for $60, I think that's a pretty awesome value.
I say that's a crazy thing, though. It's like 99.9% of the people who would want to buy this have already played all those games, and I don't know. I'm not one to rebuy a game for a 3rd or 4th time. So I guess, again, I am not Microsoft's target demographic. So
well, I think
to me, it makes no sense. I don't know how you... I understand it'll make money. It's like putting a Mario game on a DS. It'll make money.
No, it makes perfect business sense because, number one, you have people that are just coming into the ecosystem with the Xbox One now, so they can actually enjoy that stuff. Number two, it's nostalgia for the people who have played it. Halo 2 came out in, 2007? So that's quite a long time ago. And the ability to play it on a next-gen system with next-gen graphics, I think that's going to be a big...
If they haven't updated the control scheme, it's just going to frustrate new people. I mean, that's...
There was nothing wrong with the control scheme of Halo 2.
Well, I don't know. I've not... my total hours in Halo total maybe about 2 across all the games. So
I think that's...
Yeah, did they add in the ending they forgot to put in Halo 2? Fix that? That I'm still bitter about after all these years?
Now, they are remastering all of the
fight a
cutscenes.
monkey, dude. You fight a monkey, okay? And you're not even Master Chief fighting a monkey. You fight a monkey as the alien dude you don't care about, and then you fight a monkey, and then the credits roll.
So anyways, they are remastering all the cutscenes. And Rise of the Tomb Raider looked promising. Witcher 3 is probably one of the more... That and The Division were the two gameplay trailers that got me the most excited. And we'll talk more about The Division in a little bit. But Witcher 3 actually did not make an appearance anywhere else, which I was a little surprised by. I expected to see that in the Sony conference also. So, EA's conference, unless anybody wants to discuss any of the rest of the stuff we talked about there for Microsoft. Nope. EA had the weakest conference, in my opinion. They did show Star Wars Battlefront, and by show
No,
it...
they didn't. No, they didn't.
By show it, I mean they showed early concept footage and early renders, and that was about it. No actual gameplay. They did show quite a bit more of Dragon Age Inquisition. Game looks very beautiful. You are the Inquisitor assembling a team of heroes. That will be out October 7th. I don't know if I am going to pick it up on October 7th because I have a feeling it will be lost amongst the shuffle of October and November games, but we'll see.
See, now, to me, I didn't see that conference, because I had to not be where I could see the conference. But I watched the video for Dragon Age, and I didn't think it looked that visually impressive. I understand it's stylized, but maybe it was just the video I watched. Maybe it was piss poor compression or something. But
I don't know, Grady, what did you think? You watched it?
I don't remember. I'm
A ringing endorsement for Dragon Age Inquisition. All right.
They ain't paying me. I don't care.
I'm not saying it's a bad game, and I'm not saying it won't be a good. I mean, it's a BioWare RPG. It's going to be a good game, but it visually disappointed in the video I saw. Now that could just be a crappy video. I don't know.
I don't know. I thought it looked pretty good myself, but
And that's all harshing on Dragon Age. It's just like, Dragon Age, man. Dragon Age.
Somebody's been playing with Legos.
BioWare came up to bat with Mass Effect 4. They showed just the briefest of stuff, but it did look pretty cool what they did show. Sims 4, they did a really long piece on Sims 4 coming out September 2nd, which the missus immediately said, I want that. UFC with Bruce Lee coming out June 17th.
That cracked me up. That was really cool.
You really liked it?
I like UFC stuff, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
NHL 15, they added physics on all the players in the puck this year, with most detailed arenas they ever had, and to me, the crowd still didn't look that great. Criterion announced a new game, no name as of yet, but the basic idea is to get that sense of going fast that you had with Burnout and apply it to every possible type of interesting vehicle. Helicopters, jet skis, ATVs, wingsuits, all first person. And it's very, very early. Mostly just alpha footage or conceptual footage as well. PGA Tours coming out spring 15, Madden NFL 15. This year, the big announcement were defensive improvements, as well as hiring a NFL Films cinematographer to actually design the camera work in the game. They announced Dawngate, which is a new MOBA, which I pretty much stopped listening after that point. They showed some extremely early footage of Mirror's Edge 2. They spent 15 minutes showing us live soccer and then cut to FIFA 15, which looked nothing like the live people that we just saw a minute ago. And then they announced Battlefield Hardline for real. And they had Sony come out and said, hey, you can go to the website and sign up for the beta, or if you own Battlefield 4 today, you can simply go to the icon on your PS4 and a magic button will appear in which you can click and download the beta right now. And Grady, what happened when they said right now?
It crashed.
The PSN crashed hard time. How long did it take you to get your beta?
Like 30 minutes to start the download.
Yeah, and then when I actually got onto it about 45, 50 minutes later, only 30% of the beta keys were left. So if you didn't get it by now, sorry to say you're not going to get it. We have streaming footage of the beta that will be up on the site a little later tonight. Yadarg, your thoughts on the EA conference?
What? EA conference. Alright. I don't know.
Nothing stood out to you?
Not. I like the Bruce Lee thing. That cracked me up. I liked seeing Bruce Lee fight. I think it was John. Who was he fighting? I can't remember. But
whoever the 3-time welterweight champion is for UFC, or lightweight champion.
Yeah. I liked that, but I can't remember what else did they do. They did the Dragon Age thing, right? No, they didn't. I don't know. I'm not paying attention.
Yeah, I got that because I just went through all of them. And anything else that either of the two of you hone in on that sounded interesting in that conference? Matt, Dave?
No, it sounded like it was pretty much. I mean, I guess there were some reveals, but nothing sounds like it's really just. Oh, I gotta. I mean, and the few things they did reveal that were hitherto unknown weren't big reveals. You know, hey, we're doing this. Okay, bye.
Yeah, I'm curious about that Criterion game. In the past, I've liked the stuff that they've done with the Burnout series and all. So I like them as a developer. So I'd be interested to see what they're trying out now for this thing. Because it sounds kind of like almost like Pilot Wings-esque.
It actually reminded me of that. Only imagine it way faster.
Yeah.
You're able to jump from a helicopter onto the back of an ATV.
Yeah, see that kind of sounds fun, you know. Yeah. And I liked what they did with previous Criterion Burnout games. They were one thing I always liked about them is they knew how to make them fun. So I trust that developer to make a fun game. There's a lot of money behind it because the EA's got some cash. Give it good. I think that could be a nice sleeper hit.
That brings us to the Ubisoft conference. They started out with the first 5 minutes of cinematics of Far Cry 4. Just Dance 2014, including a community remix allowing others to play your performance. They also announced Just Dance Now, which is kind of interesting. All you need is a smartphone and a second screen like a computer or TV, and it allows multiple people to play together. They said virtually unlimited number of people to play against and online with each other. They showed a new cinematic trailer for The Division, setting up the story for it. That was pretty interesting. A little bit of a disappointment. There was no further Division coverage the entire conference. So now I'm wondering if it's even going to make next year, possibly 2016. They showed a new trailer from The Crew, which basically was a time-compressed video of one of the longer missions in the game. It's a 2-hour-long, that's real-world time, 2-hour-long mission to drive from coast to coast. So, for example, the four of us could actually queue up that mission and then drive from New York to L.A. Closed beta on The Crew will be starting July 23rd, and you can register for that at thecrewgame.com/beta, and it will be launching November 11th. Assassin's Creed Unity, we saw it for the second time. This time we saw single player, focusing on the new character Arnaud. What was interesting about it is that even as he did the single player mission, you could see that there were other multiplayer missions that would pop up, like there was a murder mystery that he could have opted to start as he was running through the houses to get to his goal. So it looks like it'll be very much an ADD experience, kind of like Watch Dogs. They also announced Shape Up, which was a Microsoft exclusive Kinect title for getting into shape. And then they introduced Valiant Hearts: The Great War. And this is Ubisoft's UbiArt engine that we saw in Child of Light and Rayman being used to celebrate the 100th anniversary of World War One. It's actual letters from the people involved in World War One narrated into a puzzle game. It was kind of really depressing and sad, but also very, very good. So that looks like something to keep an eye out for. And then probably the biggest reveal from the Ubisoft conference, Rainbow Six Siege. 5-on-5, close quarter, destructible environment, hostage situations. They gave us about a 10-minute gameplay demo for it. Pretty impressive stuff. Grady, any standouts from the Ubisoft conference for you?
No.
Matt, anything interest you there?
The lack of Watch Dogs coverage kind of confirms my fears. I've been afraid that one's just not going to make the timeline. It seems like it's a what do you want to say, delay-prone game to start with. It's already been delayed once, and now that we're sitting here, with nothing really that came up out of it, I don't know. That one's, I don't know. It's just one that seems like it's ripe for eternal delay.
I have no idea what you're talking about. The game.
Yeah, because I'm playing it. Actually.
No, Watch Dogs. Damn it! I grabbed the wrong one. The one
The
year.
Division.
Division. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no. I'd rather they take their time with it. They haven't promised a release date other than next year.
Yeah.
And I fully expect it to hit in October or November of next year when every other game hits at the same time.
Which is going to be pain in the butt because
Gamepocalypse. It's going to happen this year too.
Yeah, the year 2015 came up way too often in all of these conferences.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, big shock for me. The World War I game that's all artsy that seems to focus around a dog. That's the game of the show.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely one that caught me off guard, and I was really interested. The soundtrack, the narration sounded really good, and then the artwork, as we've seen from other UbiArt engine games, is just fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. That's one that surprised me. I didn't hear anything about that before any of the E3 coverage at all. Nobody seemed to cover it. They just kind of threw it out there. Yeah, that's definitely something I want to check out.
So that brings us to the Sony conference. They started out by showing an Origins trailer, if you will, for Destiny. None of us knew what it was at the beginning because it actually showed pretty much present-day timeline of people landing on Mars, and that's actually the beginning of Destiny. From there, they said that it will be on PlayStation first. The beta will start July 17th, and this Thursday, if you go to greatnessawaits.com/Destiny, you can actually play in the beta all this weekend, or the alpha.
Yeah.
The alpha all this weekend.
Wait, isn't the alpha? You can play it on PS4 though, right?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
But you still have to go to greatnessawaits.com/Destiny to get the code.
Gotcha.
Also, they announced a white PS4 Destiny bundle coming out September 9th with a 500 gigabyte drive and a white controller, as well as the game. They did show a new trailer for The Order 1886, mostly cinematic, a little bit of gameplay.
No.
When I say mostly cinematic, literally it had maybe 20 seconds of gameplay in the whole thing, I think, even though it was about a 3-minute long trailer.
What? The Order?
Yeah. The Order 1886.
No, it was almost all gameplay.
No, sir. It was all scripted.
It was in gameplay.
It was in-game, but it was not
Okay. Yeah, okay.
It
wasn't cinematic, it was in-game engine.
Yeah, it was in-game engine cutscene.
Cinematic means it was like
him walking around. No, wait. Him walking with the lantern was part of the game.
Now, if there were no button prompts on the screen, then it was not gameplay. And if you go back and watch that, they only had literally about 20 seconds worth of gameplay in that. And it's every time that he was shooting or pressing triangle on the ground to drink the elixir. So that's literally how you can tell in those. So most of it was in-game cutscene. Now, I'm not saying it looked bad. That's not what I'm saying at all. It looked fantastic. So I'm hoping they're ironing out the rest of that, since it was running a little rough last time we saw it in February.
Well, they've also released other gameplay for it. Of one of the guns that you...
That was from the February footage.
No, it's been a... Oh, really?
Yeah, they haven't released anything since February for it. This is the first time we've seen it since then. February or March, one of the two. Let's see. Entwined was a new indie game that they highlighted. Dual stick control, 9 worlds. It's on PS4 right now for $9.99. It's coming soon to PS3 and Vita, and it will have cross-buy across all 3 consoles. They announced new standalone Infamous DLC called First Light, much like Festival of Blood for the previous Infamous game. This one is standalone, so you do not need to own the game in order to do so. But if you do own the game, then you get bonuses going into the standalone DLC. It will focus on fetch, it appears, and I'm all about the neon power set, so sure. Did you have any thoughts on that, Matt?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where it takes place. It looks like it takes place before Second Son.
That's what it looked like to me too.
It's the same graphics engine. You know, I guess this is kind of like Festival of Blood was for Infamous 2. So yeah, if it's a nice little bite-sized thing, I would be interested. I really thought that something like that would be on the Vita. Or that they would say that it's also available on Vita or something like that, but that didn't happen. So, but yeah, it looks just like Second Son graphically, and
you can always remote play it to Vita.
You could remote play it, but thinking about the 0.02% of people out there that have a Vita but not a PS4.
Let's see, Little Big Planet 3. That was announced coming in November. All 8.7 million levels from Little Big Planet 1 and 2 will automatically be playable day 1, along with retooled graphics for the PS4. They introduced like 4 new characters beyond Sackboy. All of them looked fairly cute and adorable. Each one having different powers. Anything anyone else wants to chime in about Little Big Planet 3? Other than the chick that they got to play it really should have been able to practice once before she actually got on stage to play it.
I don't know. As somebody that's
well,
actually...
you know, you did. Go ahead.
I've played a bunch of Little Big Planet online. That's actually one game I have played online.
Mm-hmm.
And even when you play with people who play a lot, that tends to happen a lot in Little Big Planet. It's just a sloppy little game sometimes, but it's great fun.
I agree. I'm really excited.
Really excited to see it. I actually, for some reason, did not expect Little Big Planet 3.
The thing that's really going to piss me off, though, is if I can't import the hundreds of dollars worth of DLC that I have on my PS3.
They said you could.
They said you could?
Yeah.
Well, wait. DLC or the user-created levels?
No. DLC is what I'm talking about. The paid DLC.
Yeah, that was kind of ambiguous as to whether that was included or not.
I'd imagine they're going to include a bunch of that. I mean, they did a whole thing for between 1 and 2, so.
And they did with the PS Vita version also. So.
Yeah. So.
And I mean, if the levels are playable, that means the content's in it anyway. So.
Probably one of the most exciting things that I saw during the conference, Bloodborne, is not Demon's Souls 2. This is the From Software title, Project Beast. We didn't find out a whole lot about it. Looked mostly like cinematics, but coming in 2015, and it looked pretty awesome and sick and gory and dark. So we'll see about that. Far Cry 4. This is the second time we saw it. It got a in-game playthrough that was pretty freaking amazing. One of the biggest reveals that Ubisoft didn't even do in their own conference was announced that it is co-op online. So you can play through the game with other people.
Oh, you also forgot
That's not even the biggest thing.
Yeah.
That's not even the biggest announcement they made.
if someone else wants to play with you, but they don't own the game, you just send them an invite and they can play.
Yeah,
Regardless
I was
of the
getting
game.
there. So that's really interesting. That means, Dave, since you won't buy Far Cry 4, I could invite you and you can play it with me.
That's the only way that I'll jump in there.
I know. So that's really interesting that they've done that, and that's only going to happen on the PlayStation version of the game. Dead Island 2 was announced with a 30-day exclusive beta and exclusive character and level. We saw no gameplay whatsoever, just a cinematic.
But an awesome cinematic.
It was an awesome cinematic.
That had to be like, and I really have no interest in that series, but that series really knows how to make a game trailer.
Which game? Sorry, I missed the...
Dead Island 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Although this one was more humorous than the first one. The first one was sad.
The first one really nailed an emotional right in the feels kind of thing. This one was funny. I mean, Jack Black was the guy who was grabbing somebody's shoe.
Yeah, we thought it was Jack Black, but I hadn't confirmed that.
I'm pretty sure we had that confirmed. I didn't actually look it up and call Jack Black myself, but pretty much everybody said it was either Jack Black or somebody doing a dead-on Jack Black.
Well, you can get on that like the Transistor developers, right?
Look, they didn't answer me, dude. I can't do anything about that. I actually was on that.
Interesting things they snuck in, which I don't know if a lot of people caught during that whole zombie section, was that Blizzard is putting The Last of Us in Diablo 3. They will have clickers in the game. They will have their own exclusive dungeon that has The Last of Us enemies, and it will only be on the PS3. And there will be exclusive loot that you can get specifically from those dungeons. So that was a nice little surprise hidden in there. They did a trailer for Battlefield Hardline, nothing new that we didn't see previously in the EA conference. Disney Infinity Collector's Edition 2.0, they made some kind of vague, generic thing that our partnership's going better and you'll only be able to do this on the PSN, but I have no idea what it means. They didn't explain it very well.
Only be able to do what on PSN?
Yeah, exactly.
No. They were pretty specific. You're only going to Hulk Smash on PSN, on PlayStation.
Yeah,
only PlayStation gets the Hulk Smash.
The power? Or the character?
That means Hulk only on PlayStation, from what it sounded like.
I don't think so. I think it's just that Hulk Smash power.
I don't know. They certainly made it sound like...
It was very unclear. That's why I was like, I wish you could explain that a little bit more. I'm sure we'll see it throughout the rest of E3. There'll be a clarification of it. Destiny will have an exclusive Strike on Mars mission and map. Paradox Interactive is releasing Magicka 2. Double Fine is bringing back Grim Fandango, which I about jumped out of my seat for.
That's a nice little surprise.
That was a nice little surprise.
Right, and yet you said Microsoft handedly won E3.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get to where you change your mind? Is that?
No.
Or where you realize you're wrong? Is that where we're going?
Devolver Digital is bringing like 7 games to the PlayStation, including Broforce and a bunch of others. Suda51 had a debut of Let It Die, which disturbed Grady to no end. And that's
Which one?
The Suda51 title was where he was picking up the hatchet worth plus 25 damage.
Yeah, that was weird.
That's Suda51.
That's Suda51, yep.
I don't like that.
That game will be PlayStation 4 only. They talked about Abzu, which is a water game that actually looked very beautiful. No Man's Sky, they gave a lot of time to No Man's Sky, which I was very happy to see.
Mm-hmm.
That is Hello Games is a team of 4 people, and if you're not familiar with their project development on this game, there actually was a flood in their office, and they almost lost everything and had to start over again, from what I understood. So
I'm still trying to figure out how they're doing all that with just 4 people.
4 people? I know. I have no idea. It's amazing.
Like, that's insane. They had to be getting some kind of outside help, or maybe they just made a deal with the devil. But that thing just looks like a...
It
It looks
was
like one of those
confirmed.
games you always wanted when you were a kid growing up.
And it was confirmed there is combat in it, space combat.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty exciting.
There was a confirmed ground combat too, because in one of the Sizzler reels at the end where they were just showing all the different scenes, it showed you shooting some sort of ray gun at some sort of thing.
Yeah, it looked like a robot drone or something. That will launch exclusively on the PS4 to begin with. I'm sure it's a timed exclusive, but still looking forward to that. No date given on it, sadly. They talked very briefly about Project Morpheus. They did announce that coming in the summer, YouTube to PS4 will be in there, as well as being able to see your friends' YouTube activity on the PS4. They also announced that they are building broadcasting sets into the Playroom, so that's interesting. If the PlayStation camera fidelity was worth a crap, we might think about doing that, but sorry. They showcased 25 titles coming to free-to-play in the next 12 months for the PlayStation 4. They talked about PS Now open beta starting July 31st on the PS3 and Vita shortly thereafter. And later this year, they're going to launch PS Now on Sony smart TVs with just a DualShock 3, and the service will have more than 100 PS3 games.
Free, or is it like a service monthly thing you gotta pay for it?
While it's in beta, it's free. Otherwise, you rent per game, and it's undetermined if they are going to do like a $20 a month package where you get X number of games or unlimited games. They haven't said yet.
Yeah, it sounds like they're going to figure that out.
Based on user feedback, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm currently in the PS Now beta, and it works pretty well, actually. But I also have really good internet, so I'd be interested to see how somebody like Matt fares with using the service, since he lives out in a remote area. Let's see. They did a small Vita section, talked about Minecraft, the full console version coming with co-op. It's amazing how they can get that to be working, but not Borderlands 2. PlayStation TV was announced. $99. It's going to play PlayStation Now. It's going to have 100 games or 1,000 games ready for it at launch. And Disney Infinity 2.0 will run on PS TV as well. They are also offering a $139 bundle that has an HDMI cable, a DualShock 3, and a voucher for the Lego Movie game. Matt, PS TV seems like you're the ideal candidate for this.
Oh yeah, I'm getting one. That'll go on my downstairs TV, because then that way, if I'm upstairs playing on the upstairs PS3 and one of the kids wants to play a PS4 game, they can go downstairs, hop on the TV, and remote play it. Yeah, that is designed for my household.
Dave, any interest for you? I know you kind of have stuff all over the place.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad thing to have. I could see, using that as a, basically a jump box to, because like right now my current configuration is I have a PS3 downstairs and a PS3 upstairs, and my PS4 like in my game room. So like I've been in the past a person who has multiple PS3s, throughout the house to use the same functionality. So yeah, able to do that for like 1/4 the price. Sure, yeah, sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah, and one of the things that I can't do is my PS4 is entrenched down here, especially with all the recording equipment. I can't go upstairs and play while the missus is working on stuff upstairs. Now right. I could with a PS TV, so it makes perfect sense for me too, especially at $99. That's great.
Yeah.
Let's see. Other things announced in the Sony conference: Mortal Kombat 10 first gameplay footage, and guess what? It looks almost identical to the cinematic trailer. Hooray! All the concepts we saw in the cinematic trailer were in there in all of its gory detail, being able to vault off things in the environment, break sticks off and use them as makeshift weapons, and horrible, horrible X-ray maneuvers and fatalities. Anybody else have comments on that other than I thought it looked really good?
Fireball of death.
Yeah, Fireball of Death.
No Hadokens here. Fireball of Death.
Yeah, it looked pretty fun.
I agree. Then we came to what I would consider the wall. They had all this momentum rolling in the conference, and this is why I said that Microsoft won. They hit the middle of the conference where all the games just stopped. And suddenly we were talking about PS Now, and we were talking about the Vita, and we were talking about all this and that. And then suddenly we were talking about the Power TV show, which, don't get me wrong, I am super excited that they are developing a Power TV show. That is a fantastic. Is somebody listening to something? Weird. It's getting some feedback. Sorry.
I heard it too, but it wasn't me.
Yeah. That is a fantastic comic book, and I am very glad that they've already greenlit 2 seasons of it, and we get to watch it for free on PS Plus. So that's good, but did they need to take all that time from the conference away from games to talk about the Vita, PS Now, and Vita and the TV stuff? No, I don't think so. Not really. And then the Ratchet and Clank movie coming out 2015.
Choose your words carefully from this next section.
Although I was surprised, it looks like it's a retelling of the original game story. So that was kind of a surprise. I was expecting an original story, unless it's just flashback stuff that they included.
And the interesting phrase of the night is we're working with Insomniac to reboot the original Ratchet and Clank for PS4. So that was, well, they didn't say reboot, but they said a retelling of the original game.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Go
ahead.
I'm fine with a remake of the original game, because if you go back and play, like when they released the the pack of games, and you go back and play the original, like you go back to like the very original controls and everything. That's a weird playing game on the original controls. So it's kind of neat that they would go back and do something like that. I'd be totally fine with that game because that was just a classic.
And then from there, they announced Last of Us for the remastered for the PS4 will be coming out July 29th. They showed the Metal Gear 5 trailer, and none of us could figure out which Snake it was supposed to be. So that should tell you something.
According to the post show, it's Big Boss.
I didn't realize Big Boss ever had an artificial hand. So this would be post 4.
This is post Phantom Pains.
Yeah, which is post 4. Well, which is post Peace Walker, actually.
Post Peace Walker, yeah.
Post Peace Walker, but pre number 1.
Yes.
I don't know anything about that series.
It doesn't matter. No one
even if you do know about it, nobody knows anything about it.
So there's multiple
knows
different
what's going
snakes.
on.
Yeah, there's multiple. Big Boss was the original. Then they cloned him, and there were 2 clones. There's Solid Snake and Liquid Snake. Well, and I think technically Ocelot Revolver, I think, is also a clone, if I remember right, but an aged clone.
He's infected with Liquid, but yeah. And then Solidus Snake.
Right.
And then
so it's really complicated.
Gaseous.
Yeah. Decoy Octopus Snake. Let's see. So anyways, that was meh. Then they announced GTA 5 for the PS4. Yeah, GTA 5 for the PS4 announced coming in the fall. The interesting note there is that PS3 users and 360 users can transfer their save files to the PS4. That is hilarious.
Now, that was another thing they were talking about in the post show, is that it's your online save, not your like single player game save. So it's whatever their online server profile storage thing is that's going to allow you to transfer your online character in rather than your. I don't know. I'm just saying it's a distinction.
We then saw a very, very nice looking Batman Arkham Knight demo in which he destroys half the city in the name of justice.
And exaggerate much.
Really exaggerate.
And we got a close-up of the Scarecrow showing that there will be nightmare missions only on the PS4. And we ended the conference with Uncharted 4 teaser trailer coming out in 2015, which, considering the development history of that game, is very surprising.
I just want to point out that the Batman games are having a Star Wars effect, where the farther back in time in the series you go, the more high tech it starts to look. For instance, the in Star Wars, the episode 1, 2, and 3 look more high tech than 4, 5, and 6. And then with Arkham,
it's just because everything was shiny and clean. They stopped giving their stuff a wash down.
Yeah, they stopped letting dust accumulate on Leia.
And yeah, okay. So yeah, that cracked me up.
So I guess I assume this one took place after 2. Does this one take place?
This one, I believe,
in between
starts
Origins and 1, or
this starts before Asylum and before Origins, I think.
Regardless, they have said Origins has no place in the timeline. They said that it happened out of context, out of continuity.
Wow.
Here's an Elseworlds mission.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I thought it was a strong showing by Sony, but I think that wall in the middle really killed the momentum, and they never. I mean, they did announce good games again towards the end, but that whole middle section just not the place for it. I mean, it happened in last year's conference too, but they were able to recover from it better, I think, than they did from this one. Michael Bendis pretty much stood out there and it seemed like he had no flipping idea what to say.
He was out there for too long. I'll grant you that. He was out there for too long.
He looked like that militant alien guy from Doctor Who.
He's talking about the little short round guy.
Yeah.
He's talking about a Centauran, yes.
Yeah.
He looks like he ate the old BMB.
How may I help you, sir? Good. So I think that we all won from all the conferences. I thought it was very well done across the board, but to me, I think Microsoft had the better overall games. I think Sony had a good showing, but I hate to say it, I think Microsoft had a better conference. Grady, what do you think?
Okay, but barring the Brian Michael Bendis bender, is that the only thing that's throwing you off?
No, the whole section
because
in the middle.
almost all of
Look, when Andrew House
games are multi-platform.
No, when Adam Boyes came out, that was cool. That was fine. When Andrew House was talking, that was cool. That was fine. When they got the new Sony CEO that I'd never seen before, when he came out, he did a good job presenting, but that's where things came to a screeching halt. And they stayed that way for.
So you're doing that entire block, not just the B&B.
Yeah, no, the entire block.
Oh,
okay, and it ended with the Brian Michael Bendis stuff. After that, we were good to go once again. I had no problem with the Vita TV announcement. That's new hardware, new functionality, great. But that whole block just was way too long, and they should have saved that for offline and shown us more games. Because what I will say about the Microsoft conference is, regardless of first-party exclusives or whatever, they came out and they showed game. We game with Sony, and we got game. Stop. Talk about Vita. Talk about PS Now. Talk about, this and that, and TV. And then we went back to game. And that middle section just killed it.
It's E3. It's not all video games. It's electronic or whatever what do the 3 stand for? I forget.
Electronic Entertainment Expo.
Exactly. It's not all just games. It's all aspects of entertainment electronically.
Yes, except that Sony came out and said we're committed to games and gamers.
And they presented a lot of games. And
you can only play on PlayStation 4, as opposed to Microsoft. It was like, hey, you can play this on PlayStation 4 too for pretty much everything, and Halo.
Halos.
Halo, Crackdown.
Here's Halo again. Hey, what's in the well? Halo. Halo. It's hello. Hello, Halo. Here we go. Play it again.
Forza, Sunset Overdrive,
Dude, Sony didn't even show off a Gran
Dead Rising
Turismo,
3.
alright? They didn't even show off a Gran Turismo. And that's one they always go to.
Now.
Yeah, but you're
Yeah,
saying that
at that point, I'm not sure what you're arguing now.
Yeah, you're saying there's no exclusives, but here are the number of exclusives that they announced. Forza Horizons 2, that's one. Sunset Overdrive, that's two. Dead Rising 3, that's another. Disney Fantasia and Dance Central Spotlight, that's two more for 5. Fables Legend, that's 6. Project Spark, that's 7. Halo Master Chief Collection, that's 8. Phantom Dust is 9. Crackdown is 10. So they had 10 exclusive items. So I don't know what you guys are talking about.
The ones I actually want to play. Sorry.
Okay. There were a few in there that you listed off that I didn't realize were exclusives. So, again, I didn't watch the Microsoft conference, so I really can't say. I just go off of...
Sony announced, if we're just doing a straight number comparison, let's see. I'll call Infamous DLC 1, Little Big Planet 2, Bloodborne 3,
The Order.
The Order, Double Fine's Grim Fandango.
Entwined.
No, I don't think Entwined was an exclusive.
Yes, it was.
No,
Yeah,
it was a first. It was a first launch exclusive. It is not a exclusive. Grim Fandango was. That's 6. Let It Die by Suda51 is 7.
Well, if you're going to count Halo, then you've got to count Last of Us.
Sure, 8.
Uncharted.
Uncharted's 9.
I don't know. Was Magica? It sounded exclusive.
I don't. I mean, I think all those games are exclusive launch, but not exclusive. 9.
Again, Abzu, I'm not sure, but I thought that one wasn't exclusive.
I'll count the reboot of the original Ratchet and Clank, so that's 10. They announced the exact same number of exclusive games.
Well, yeah. I don't know about any of those.
Yeah, because there was like that whole 25 in the middle. We're just assuming they're also available on the Xbox then.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure almost all of them are, or PC. Take your pick.
Yeah, but nobody plays PC games.
Except the whole PC Master Race. But there is that.
They're just loud.
So I'm not trying to take away from Sony. They had a good showing. I liked all of the conferences. I think EA's was probably the most lackluster, but it wasn't a bad conference either. I would say that this was a very good conference for games all around. I just, my personal is Microsoft, but that doesn't mean it has to be your personal as well. Dave, what about you? What was the big highlight? First of all, what was your favorite highlight of the show? And then what was the best conference for you?
Okay. I think that Sony was the best conference. They showed off stuff that I just thought that they had stuff that was previously like unannounced and it wasn't expected. The Microsoft one, I can't really think of anything that wasn't expected that came out there. Like nothing surprised me about their showing. Like there was just nothing that jumped out at me. The Sony one, there was just like, oh, I've never seen that before. What's that water game? I haven't seen that before. And just like they were just showing off stuff I've never seen before. And then they had that little bit where they wrote it like some kid wrote a letter and here was Tim Schafer and then they made the Grim Fandango remaster. There's a lot of people that didn't play Grim Fandango. And that is just, an awesome game that everybody should play. And now they get a chance to. Yeah, see, there's a ton of people that don't even know about this game.
I know nothing about that game.
Yeah, so this gives, to me, that was a huge surprise. Like I didn't expect that one at all.
So Sony's your conference. What would you pick as the one standout highlight thing that excited you most during the conference?
The Grim Fandango announcement.
Okay.
And it's just, I mean, it's sad that like, it's just an old game that excited me that much, but it was just like that's a game that like a lot of people should be able to experience, and a lot of people just didn't. And I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy that one.
Grady, how about you? Your favorite conference of the day and the standout item of the day?
Sony probably. I liked Sony. They're I don't know. They always have a more friendlier atmosphere in my opinion. But and my favorite item is tricky because I want to know more about Rainbow Six or Rainbow whatever, whichever one it is. Yeah, I think it's
Rainbow Six Siege.
Siege. Yeah. Um, I remember saying some things when they were happening. I was just like, yes, yes, but I can't remember what I said now.
I think Order 1886 was.
Oh, yeah, Order 1886. Oh, I'm super pumped for that. So excited. Um, yeah, the district looked cool. I really liked the whole scene where they reanimated, like the guy used some kind of device that took context clues of the area around him and recreated a scene with like digital holograms or something, and that was really cool. Far Cry 4, oh, that looks so delightful. I don't know. I'd say it's a tie between Far Cry 4 and Order.
Okay. Matt, how about you?
Well, I only watched Sony's conference, so I really can't equally compare them. Looking at the content that I care about, just looking at the titles, Microsoft didn't present anything to me that would cause me to even feel like I needed to cross the line. And I was rather pleased with the majority of the stuff I saw on the Sony one. Ubisoft sounds like they had a good one, but again, I didn't actually get to see it. I watched some of the trailers, but I can't really say.
Yeah, I feel like it's really hard for Ubisoft to have a conference, and only in the sense that they're kind of split. They have games that are exclusive for PlayStation, but they
don't have any exclusive games.
They don't? I thought
multi-console for everybody. That's how they make their bread and butter.
Oh.
Yeah, they do either limited or exclusive content for the games to different systems.
The only game that they have that was exclusive was the game designed for Kinect, which most people aren't going to have anymore. Other than that, all the big titles, Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, The Division, all that is multi-platform.
Oh yeah, I guess it is.
I will have to say I was disappointed that we didn't hear a PS3 price cut. I really was sure that they were going to announce a PS3 price cut.
We'll get to that in a second. We'll talk about things they didn't say in a second. I just want to wrap up.
Okay. My favorite thing. Okay. This is hard because the thing that I think they best isn't the thing I'm most interested in, so I'm going to go with most interested, and that's No Man's Sky. Until I know more about it. If there's hints of things in there that look like they're going to be Minecrafty, and if it gets too Minecrafty, it's going to drive me nuts. But if it's more all the other stuff, then that will be just a time sink times a bajillion.
So obviously my vote was for the Microsoft conference just by a hair, and the standout item for me, I'm sorry again for the second year in a row, is The Division. I was really disappointed we didn't get to see more of it.
Going to be your pick for the next 3 years.
It's not going to be my pick because it's coming out next year.
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah. That's what they say.
Yeah,
it's going to be your pick next year again because it's not going to come out till the end of next year.
Let's talk
about The Last Guardian. Just like The Last Guardian.
Let's talk very quickly about the things that did not make appearances at the show. We'll start with Microsoft. No Quantum Break, which I was very sad to see, because that's to me probably the most promising title on the Xbox One right now. We also didn't see The Last Guardian, which I really thought we were going to see this year from Sony. Especially after the whole kerfuffle of is it or is it not canceled with IGN over the weekend, where IGN basically had to come out and apologize to Sony. What other things did we not see that you were... Well, price cut for the PS3. I expected a 360 price cut. Down to $99 to try and... But there wasn't even a mention, not a single mention of 360 during the entire Microsoft press conference. And while they didn't necessarily mention it in the Sony press conference, we at least got pictures of it with the Vita and the PS4. Anything else that stood out as not being mentioned that you thought was going to be in any of these press conferences today?
Battlefront.
No, they mentioned it. It had its own little thing. Yeah, it did. It was enough to say, hey, we're still here and we're still working on it. I mean, the game's only 3 months old. You can't expect a whole lot from them.
I've waited a long time for another Battlefront. See that game's my old bread and butter. Like when I moved, I've only moved once in between middle school and grade school. Like that's kind of like how I got to know a lot of my close friends. Like that was like the one thing I was just like, they're like, tell us about yourself or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, I play games. I like baseball. They're like, oh, what kind of games do you like? I'm like, Battlefront. And then we spent like countless sleepless sleepovers.
So Grady, let me ask you a very easy question. If they collected all the Battlefront games into one collection for $60 and updated the graphics to today's graphics and released it on the PS4, would you buy it?
Yes.
All right. So Matt, there's your answer for Halo.
Yeah, I don't get it. That's me.
You did you buy a Ratchet and Clank collection or a Sly Cooper collection?
Yes, because I never played the Sly Cooper games, and because my kids had never played the Ratchet and Clank games.
But you had played the Ratchet and Clank games.
I have played but I've not played the and they're not. Yeah, they are HD remakes, but I have not played the HD remakes. I've only played the originals.
Right, but these are all going to be updated graphics, HD remakes.
No, I again, like I said, I bought it because my kids had not played Ratchet and Clank, and I bought the Sly Cooper because I had not played Sly Cooper. I mean, there's a difference between having played every single game in the history of a series and then rebuying them in another package and buying them in a new package because you never played them before.
But don't you think people who had played the first 4 Halos might have children that they want to experience it as well?
Nah. People who play Halo don't have kids.
Oh,
that's actually pretty accurate, kind of.
Dave, anything outstanding that was missing from the show for you?
I think it's all starting to make sense. I played Halo 2, and that's why I never had kids. Halo 2 made me sterile? Is that what you're saying?
No, I
don't know. I played Halo 2 also, and look where I'm at. So yeah.
I'm just thinking my generation for some reason.
No, I think you might be onto something here. I think I got so angry about that monkey thing at the end that it just fried up all my little swimmies.
Your anger killed your sperm.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So is this really Microsoft's plot to render the next generation sterile as well? This is their form of population.
This is their revenge
the Illuminati.
Nintendo.
We never knew it before, but Halo is a tool of the Illuminati. You heard it here first.
Just like having a cell phone in your pants for too long kills.
Are they so they're the Illuminati? So who's the Templars? Sony?
Probably.
No,
that's probably Nintendo. I mean, Nintendo's been around for forever, and
those would be like the Templars with like boxing gloves. Seriously. Just imagine an Assassin's Creed Brotherhood character with boxing gloves. And they'd be like diving. They'd be like diving off the top. Whee!
No. Sony would be the assassins. No. Never mind. You're screwing everything up, man. Your lore and myth are incorrect.
Now I really want someone to make this game. Assassin's Creed reimagined with Mario characters. Make it so.
Oh, there's probably a bunch of photoshopped.
No. I want an entire playable game.
Oh, that's another thing that wasn't there there was a potential leak on was Sony Smash 'em Up All Stars.
Oh, All Stars, yeah. Yeah, so either they decided to pull it at the last minute because of the leak and save it for Gamescom, or it was a fake. One of the two.
I've been doing a little research on the site, and it looks like Entwined is a Sony exclusive. It was trademarked. The name was trademarked by Sony.
Oh,
and
you're right. That is a trademark from Sony.
The program that the Carnegie Mellon and what was the other school? The two schools participate in is specifically for designing games for the Vita, and that's how they get through the school program, how they get picked up for this project. So it
cool.
looks like it's probably a Sony exclusive.
So that would now be Edge to Sony for sure. In exclusives.
Yes, 11-10. You are correct. That still doesn't make me change my mind.
Oh no, just making sure that it's like you're just totally factually incorrect now. That's all that matters.
Oh my gosh, sorry, I cut out there. Apparently the hotel internet.
It's a good feeling when you got something over on Mark.
Oh my god.
That's what I'm here for. All right.
I bring the joys to Dave.
Final thoughts. We'll start with you, Darg. Final thoughts on the conferences?
No, I don't. Nothing much goes on up here. I just go, ooh, that's shiny. Look at that.
Got it. Matt, final thoughts?
It's not last year. I mean, I will give you. I think from what little bit I heard, the Microsoft presentation was much better than last year. I'll give you. Sony's wasn't as good as last year, but they've always done the numbers, so I guess that part didn't bother me particularly. And the two company ones I haven't seen, and obviously we don't know what Microsoft or Nintendo's doing tomorrow yet, but I think there's a lot of good things. I think 2015 is going to be the year that I will be catching up with for the rest of my PS4 life. Yeah, I mean, if all that stuff actually drops in 2015, I don't know how I'm going to pick what I play. I have no idea.
We'll change your title to Gibbering Spastic down there. Dave, final thoughts?
These are the kind of E3s I love. It's the year after the whole console E3s. And I know everybody loves the console E3s because all the new stuff's out, all the new hardware is out, it's all shiny and new and great and everything. But these are where like the meat is. You know, this is when you get the real games, and this is what everybody's focus is on and what they do. So I thought we had a really good showing, like both sides. Like we said, on both sides. There was plenty of exclusives on both sides. There was plenty of games to play that are, playable across all platforms. You have indie games. You have the big budget titles. You have, things that just look amazing. You have like these retro style games that are going back and, are just fun to play but have this like unique style to them. I mean, this is really a good time for it. So, yeah, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, my final thoughts are to piggyback off yours. We had all these games announced and shown today, and there's so many more that weren't even at the show, like all of Square Enix's catalogs, other than Tomb Raider, like all of WB's catalog besides Batman Arkham Knights. Plus there's all these indie games that are in development that we don't even know about yet. So I think that this is a fantastic time for new innovation. Ooh. Yes. 2014 is not going to be super heavy in terms of AAA titles from first-party studios, but at the same time, we will have quite a few from the side developers, the third-party developers. We saw a lot of those today. So until Wednesday, when we do our regular podcast, game on, everybody.
Game on.